Hi everyone, and welcome to Right Design for Communication, a series of digital productions from Deaf Scotland, showcasing a future vision where the design of the world around us has hearing impaired people in mind, as well as others living with sensory loss and disabilities. The format of these productions will include a presentation from a guest, followed by a short Q&A. Lorna Stephenson is a graduate of the University of Hull, where she received an honours degree in business management. She began her career in telecommunications with RNID, now Action and Hearing Loss, as an outreach officer for Text Relay, specialising in providing technical assistance to deafblind customers. She has predominantly worked within the customer service arena and has championed the communications needs of deaf and hard of hearing people throughout this time. Lorna now heads up the product and commercial team for voice services within the Enterprises unit in BT. This team is responsible for some of the UK's most critical services: 999, Relay UK, Operator Assistance, and the Directory Inquiry Services. Lorna and her team have worked hard to build reliable and innovative services, pioneering the Relay UK service for inclusive communication with text phone users and improving the reliability of location information on 999 calls with the introduction of Advanced Mobile Location Data, AML, which can pinpoint the location of 999 callers 4,000 times more accurately. So without further delay, I'd like to pass over to Lorna.
Thanks very much, Nick, and thanks for giving me the opportunity today to talk to you a little bit about Relay UK and the activities that we're doing and we continue to carry out to make the service as accessible as possible for our customers. So I think it's fair to say that Relay UK has had many reincarnations over the years, but we've ultimately been around as a service since about 1991. In 2014, we introduced the new text generation service, which basically allowed people to make telephone calls using mobile devices. So allowing people to kind of be a lot more accessible in terms of being able to access the service on the move, which obviously gave a tremendous benefit to customers. In 2019, we actually renamed the service and the app. And often the reason we did this was because often hearing people who were receiving calls were previously getting the calls introduced as next generation text or text relay. And this essentially made people think that it was something to do with SMS services and they really didn't want to take the call. So we renamed the service and the app. Hopefully now we're reducing the confusion and helping more deaf and hard of hearing people actually access the services that they need to via the telephone. It's interesting though, we actually carried out a consumer research poll with the support of the UK Council on Deafness back in 2009, which actually told us that only 1 in 20 customers were actually able to carry out tasks, etc., over the telephone. So that left 70% of the deaf community, about 8.4 million people, having to ask friends or family members to actually have help with making basic telephone calls. But you know, that doesn't need to be the case. Relay UK brings relay services for deaf and hard of hearing people and speech impaired people actually right up to date with the latest app technology. So people don't need any specialist kits. They can just download the app from either the App Store or the Google Play Store onto a smartphone or tablet or even computer. So how does the service work really? Well, whether you're deaf or hard of hearing, speech impaired, you can make calls using an appropriate prefix. So deaf and hard of hearing people can dial 18,001 and then the telephone number of the person they want to call. And then once the person at the other end of the line has actually answered the relay call, the relay agent will join the call and relay the conversation between both parties. So it's also possible to actually use the service to call the emergency services using the 18,000 prefix. And deaf users can actually also use our ESMS service, which sends text messages to the emergency authorities sort of via relay. And actually hearing people can also originate the call to a deaf person using the 18,002 prefix. So there's no excuse, anyone can make a telephone call. And even if people need a little bit more help sort of navigating through those complex IVRs we've got a service called Relay Assist, which again, the agent takes a much more helpful role in terms of helping at every stage of the conversation. So essentially, yeah, we're there to help customers, whether it be friends or family they're calling, or whether it be organisations. And actually, we know that actually the Relay UK service probably attracts more types of calls to services than to friends and family. And we think that's because obviously over the last 10 years, we've seen volumes drop as a result of data-driven communication methods. Deaf users are making use of SMS, email messaging, FaceTime, live chat, and all other forms of communication. But actually, what we're seeing is that some organisations, where telephone contact is still necessary, it's still difficult to reach those organisations via some of those other methods. So making that hair appointment or trying to contact your local florist to book some flowers is still very important to do over the telephone. So we're very much about trying to improve that service for deaf and hard of hearing people. And we know that, from conversations that we've had with the community, that bad telephone experiences are putting people off using the phone to contact businesses, which actually can make these services sort of inaccessible. So we're really urging businesses to alert sort of frontline staff to the service and download our helpful Relay UK Business Toolkit, which includes educational content about the service and what to expect when taking a call from one of our Relay assistants. And we hope that by these organisations actually downloading the toolkit, businesses will be able to provide a seamless call experience for the deaf customers. So, I mean, as I say, we know that how people are using technology these days really has changed rapidly in the recent decades. But we're really hoping that our simple service can bring the power to transform the calling experience for the estimated 12 million deaf people in the UK, and particularly where there's nothing but a real-time conversation will do the job. But what I would ask is, don't just take my word for it. Let's see why deaf people are turning to our service to help them communicate.
I started to lose my hearing when I was 20, and now it's very limited. But that won't stop me doing things I love. I've had to adapt my way of living, and luckily, there's lots of help out there for me and others like me. However, there are still some things that make life tricky. Like, what if I need to make a phone call? Perhaps for a GP appointment or as part of a job application. It makes conversations very difficult unless I'm with someone who can make the call for me. But that's different now. I recently got Relay UK. It's a free app you can download that makes conversations on the phone possible and easy with the help of a relay assistant. I say what I need to on the call, and when the person on the other end answers, the relay assistant types the response so I can read it straight away. This also works the other way around for people who have difficulty talking, like my mum, who suffered a stroke. They type their conversation and the relay assistant reads it out to the person on the other end. There's no need to buy any equipment, a new phone. It's confidential and secure, with strict rules to make sure your personal details and data stay safe. Fast, natural, and relaxed conversations are just a download away. And as you can tell, I love to talk. Now that's a good call. Hey! Download the app today.
So, as you can see, we've really hopefully developed an app that allows a lot more people to actually utilise the benefits of Relay UK. But let's just kind of look at, what we've been working on. We've been working on a number of activities to help really improve the accessibility, not just to the service and the app, but also to the ease of finding out information to help people use the app and understand more about what the service can offer. So essentially, what we've done is we've changed our name. We've tried to make sure that that's simpler to understand, and that hearing people can accept calls more easily and readily from those deaf customers who are making calls to them. We've looked at the app, and we're really trying to fully modernise the app now. Again, making it easier to set up so that people can actually embrace the benefits that the app will bring. We've updated our website to share details of new features and functionality changes, just making sure that people are aware of the changes that we've made, and that there's information out there that they can share with the wider community on what the Relay service is and what it can do for customers who may not have heard about it previously. We've also when we were relaunching the app, we promoted it to a much broader audience than previously, through sort of different media coverage, some PR activity, trying to really reach out to a wider audience, again, so that people could understand the benefits of the service. And as I mentioned before, we've developed and promoted a business toolkit to help raise awareness of the service for those organisations who are, taking calls from deaf users, and this is downloadable from the website. And we also, for the first time sort of ever really, we got the support of a deaf ambassador, and we really worked with the deaf charities and the organisations to promote the service and reaching kind of their membership, and just hopefully trying to sell the benefits of the service. And the deaf ambassador very much kind of shared on social media different avenues than we've used before about how we are making the service more accessible for the deaf community. But I guess the one thing that I wanted to really just kind of touch on, and talk to you a little bit about how we've modernised the app, particularly taking on customer feedback, is to look at the feedback that we got previously about the version of the app that we launched back in 2014. People were telling us that the app was good, and it was great to have that ability to be able to communicate on the move, but actually the app was slightly difficult to set up, particularly because customers had to actually come out of the app to make a telephone call. They wanted the app to definitely be incorporated more into their phone handset. They wanted it to look more like a standard phone app. And they also wanted it to be able to access their contacts and be able to link their telephone numbers up by using the automatic detection that comes with the SIM. So we took all on board that information. We worked with the deaf community, reaching out to people to help us with trials. And what we did was we then launched a new app, both for the Android and iOS app in November 14. So we took on board the feedback, and basically what we have now is we've got an app which, if the operating platform allows the phone, the dialer can be incorporated into the app and the phone contacts can be imported. So again, reaching back out to the deaf community and telling them that we've actually taken on board their feedback. We've got relay assistants who are able to respond, and people were saying previously that actually they were a little bit unsure as to what information was from the relay agent and what was their typing. So we've separated those text into speech bubbles, very similar to, I guess, what you'd be familiar with using kind of WhatsApp and various other real-time text platforms. And we've also now got the ability to store favorite phrases, etc., using, you know, addresses, commonly used information. So again, taking all that feedback on board and putting it into our roadmap and actually developing an app that is far more suitable for deaf and hard of hearing users. So how does the new Rayleigh UK app work? So let's take a look actually at how the app makes it easier to make telephone calls.
Be part of the conversation with Relay UK, the smart way to communicate if you can't hear or speak clearly. By linking your phone number and confirming it with a quick call, you can choose between the communication preferences so that the app suits your needs. Then, after giving access to your contacts, you're ready to start making calls, while one of our relay assistants supports the conversation. It's that easy. Simply type what you would like to say, and our assistant will relay it to the other person for you. Then, read the replies on screen as they happen. And with the option to save calls, conversations can be stored with ease. Take the stress out of phone calls and let Relay UK help you with those all-important conversations.
So hopefully that shows that, you know, we've taken on board feedback. We've introduced automatic detection of the SIM number, which obviously leads to easier setup. We've stored the 18001 prefix in the app, and people can actually link their contacts now as well. And one of the key things that we did was people were getting a bit confused as to how to link telephone numbers, but we were able to actually automate a call, which then allowed the telephone number to be linked across any device. So we believe that we've sort of really improved the functionality by listening to our customers, and perhaps we didn't get it, you know, right first time in 2014, but we've certainly taken that wealth of information and feedback to really make the app a much better app, which is definitely based on customer feedback. And actually, you know, we're not complacent. We're continuing to listen. We've now launched the new improved version of the app, but we're still responding to feedback from the customers, and we're building and prioritizing our roadmap based on that feedback. We capture feedback actually via a number of different channels, and we obviously prioritize that based on the volume of issues being raised by those sorts of channels. So every 2 years we carry out a customer satisfaction survey, and we take that feedback. It's really rich information. We take that feedback, and that helps us generate our roadmap for the future. So taking on board what people like about the service, what they want to see improved, and we actually push that through into our roadmap. We also look at NPS, which is Net Promoter Score. So we take feedback from people who would be prepared to actually promote the service to other users. And where people have perhaps not given us a very positive score, we certainly ask them for feedback. And again, that becomes another channel of taking the feedback and really bringing this information into our roadmap. We look at app reviews. We take on board again, you know, feedback from people who are leaving app reviews, and we also scan Facebook, and we take the information that comes into our help desk as well. So recently, we've had a lot of information in about the way that the app actually transfers the conversation. At the moment, we transfer the conversation on a word-by-word basis, but people have been saying to us actually that they'd also like a rolling text option. So in actually just later this week, we'll be rolling out a rolling text option, as well as retaining the word-by-word customer preference, which will give people a far better opportunity to select which way that they want the conversation to go. We did have some feedback as well about the whole kind of joining the call process. People were struggling to actually get the keyboard up with some versions of the app, but we actually resolved quite a lot of those problems back in September 2020 by taking on board the feedback that was coming back from the customers. We were also getting some feedback about app crashes and the freezing of screens. And again, we've taken all this information and fed it into our roadmap, and those will be resolved in the next release, which is going out, as I say, later this week. Again, we're testing our understanding of that with customers. We're reaching out to them. We're asking customers to make sure that we understand what it is that they don't like and what they want improved. So this is an ongoing dialogue that will continue throughout the roadmap cycles and the agile releasing of apps. And the other thing that people are saying is that they get a bit I guess frustrated that not all the people who are taking the calls from them understand what Relay UK is. So again, we've been doing a lot more on PR campaigns. We've been working with RNID. We've been working with the UK Council on Deafness to try and help us reach their membership and actually promote the service to the group of customers who may need us most. So yeah, we're certainly trying to take all the information that we get through our channels and really listen to the customers and feed that into our roadmap. And then we've got some up and coming activities actually. We're launching a new version 10, a Windows 10 app, so a desktop app. As we talked about, we've launched a new mobile app, but actually we're actually going to be launching a new desktop app so people can use it from their laptops as well, and that's coming later this month. We're at the moment we're actually trialing a Mac version of the desktop app, and that's going through trial and will be launched later in the year. But again, taking feedback from our customers, taking on board their comments during the trial, and feeding that into our development plans. In terms of sort of, we've got as I say, a very agile way of working at the moment. So whilst we'll put out a version of the app, that isn't the final version. We take on board the feedback, we roll that feedback into our agile releases, and that's an ongoing process throughout the year. So people will see updates to the App Store based on our development and our updates. We will be withdrawing the NGT Lite app, which was the app that we launched back in 2014. We are conscious that still people use that app. But as I say, what we're trying to do is make sure that the Relay UK app is the best it can be. And then we'll be withdrawing the NGT Lite app later this year. We're looking at our feedback mechanisms and reviewing and trying to improve. We're looking at the NPS, so the Net Promoter Score. We're trying to ensure that we're getting the best feedback possible, that people understand the questions that we're asking, and we're getting true and honest feedback about the service that we provide. And we'll be reviewing our help desk and social media feedback as well. As I mentioned, we're doing quite a bit of marketing. We're working with RNID, UK Council on Deafness on campaigns. We'll be looking at how we can get into the local deaf community as well and promoting the service. And we've got a really good set of tools now to go out and promote the service. We've got our hero video, we've got our animation guide, and we'll be working on how-to guides, which will be going onto the website as well with BSL support as well. So yes, lots of activities on the go, taking on board, as I say, feedback, which is I guess, the message all the way through this. So yeah, it's definitely been an evolving journey for us in Relay UK. We've listened to feedback, we've made changes, but we've also taken on board sort of wider feedback about the information available to help businesses understand the service and create promotional tools to help sell the benefits of the service to those who may have yet to discover us. So what we want to do is put the customer at the heart of what we do and help people overcome any communication barriers. And as you can see just on the screen, we've got some useful sources of information there. We've got our website, we've got the help desk, which you can contact, who will give you help and support on how to use the service. And we've also, wider to Relay UK, got our BT Including New website there. And we also provide BSL access into BT, and that can be accessed via that website too. So hopefully just a whistle-stop tour of everything that we have been doing over the last probably year or so, in terms of just improving the service, trying to make it more accessible, not just in terms of the Relay UK service and the app, but also the information that we're providing to customers to help people encourage the use of Relay UK.
So thank you, Lorna. We're now moving on to the Q&A portion of the showcase. First up, our initial question is, what does BT see as its most important development now to support access and inclusion for those affected by deafness and other communication and language barriers?
Yeah, well, Nick, I guess, yeah, we're very excited about 5G, and we believe that this can provide more opportunities for enhanced independent services and functionality, particularly, I guess, making the most of instant video interpreting, fast caption telephony calls, and speech to text capability, which obviously guarantees accuracy with very little end user training required. It'll also provide opportunities that we haven't even thought about, to be honest, or considered yet, I'm sure. But for BT specifically, we'll continue to concentrate on providing fully accessible relay services through our updated Relay UK service. And we'll also keep up to date with new technologies that will allow faster communication and provide enhanced access to users with a range of disabilities.
And so we have our second and final question, but it's a bit of a two-parter here. So it's, what initiatives are BT involved in to support digital and communication inclusion? And the second part is, how do you involve people with communication and language barriers in the design of your services?
Yeah, good questions there. So I guess, yeah, at BT, we've been involved in a number of initiatives actually to support digital and communication inclusion. That's in addition to our Relay UK service. For example, EE pay-as-you-go plans are available directly through RNID, and the plans feature increased data allowances and fewer minutes to really reflect the preferences of people with hearing loss. We've also got a customer inclusion panel to give advice on products and services, and actually RNID feeds into this panel as well. We've also got a dedicated web link that provides people with advice to explore accessible products and services, which I mentioned previously in the presentation. And this is our bt.com including you link. And we provide a range of advice, such as guidance on choosing a phone or a mobile with assistive product features. We've got services for BT that help people with disability or impairment, including sort of blocking unwanted phone calls, controlling outgoing calls, and also helpful accessories that help assist with, for example, hearing loss. So our products and services aim to help customers with a range of accessibility needs. And we also appreciate that users with disabilities are looking for equal access as standard when utilising technology. And this is something that's baked into our product and service design process. And I guess the way that we've done that really is we've worked with Cambridge University to develop what we call is an inclusive design toolkit. And actually that's publicly available now. And it includes exclusion. which essentially gives designers of products and services an indication of the number of people who'd not be able to use the product based on various capability criteria. So we believe, we actually design all our products and services in line with this toolkit now. And as mentioned before, we also engage with the deaf community via our customer inclusion panel to help develop our products and services and get the views of this community right from the start. So essentially, that's the way that we involve the community within our design principles.
Yeah, and I think people would be really interested to see that toolkit, and so it's good to hear that that's publicly available. And so that just leaves me now to thank you, Lorna, for delivering the informative presentation and answering those questions. And to our audience watching, thank you, and we hope it has provided some insight and takeaways for yourselves as well. Thank you very much, Lorna, again.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Nick.